The following is a community affairs presentation from the Ulster County Health Department. This is the Healthy Ulster Radio Show, a weekly presentation exploring community health and sustainability with guests representing a broad spectrum of community partners working to make Ulster County the healthiest in New York State. This program is sponsored by the Health Alliance of the Hudson Valley in Kingston, a member of the WMC Health Network.
Good morning. You are listening to Healthy Ulster Radio. I am your host, Dr. Carol Smith, Commissioner of Health and Mental Health for Ulster County. With me this morning is my co-host, Ben Martello, our Director of Community Health Relations. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Dr. Smith. How are you today?
Thanks.
Dr. Smith, today's topic is very interesting. We're going to be talking about the Speak Suicide Prevention Coalition in Ulster County and a very interesting initiative known as the Gun Shop and Sportsman's Club Project. Our guest is Amy McCracken, who is our Deputy Commissioner for the Ulster County Department of Mental Health. And Amy has been a master-level clinical social worker with a 3-year postgraduate certificate in short-term psychodynamic psychotherapy. She started her career with the Ulster County Department of Mental Health as a chemical dependency specialist and has since worked her way up to Deputy Commissioner. And we should also note that in about 10 days, Amy will be retiring from a distinguished 30-year, career
I know.
with
we will
us.
Definitely miss her.
Yes, a
very
great
much.
public servant, a wonderful
She's
individual.
done great things.
So, welcome, Amy. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here on the program this morning to talk about this really important subject of suicide prevention.
Amy, maybe you can review with us some of the statistics on suicide in Ulster County.
Sure, Dr. Smith. We don't have real current statistics, but the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, does have national statistics from 2014. And in 2014, they report that there were 42,773 deaths by suicide, or 12.93 per 100,000 individuals. And I put it in that context because for New York State, we have the trend of 8.4 suicides per 100,000. And specifically in Ulster County, we're a little bit below the New York State trend. We have 8.2 per 100,000. And again, this is from 2014.
Unfortunately, that number has been going down over the last several years.
It has been going down. We get a few blips in that number, but certainly our work with Speak and promoting suicide prevention and talking about suicide prevention and talking about suicide as a risk in many different areas of the community, we believe has made a difference in reducing
Absolutely,
people at risk for suicide.
And the goal, of course, is 0 suicides, really,
Right.
because one is one too many. Amy, are there any particular groups, demographic groups, age, gender, so on, that are more susceptible to suicide?
Indeed, there are, pretty dramatically. Middle-aged men and veterans are at the greatest risk for suicide. Again, I'm going to quote a 2014 statistic. The rate of suicide for adult civilian men, and I say that specifically because I'm going to quote some veteran statistics, was 26.2 nationally. That per 100,000 people. That's pretty dramatic, above the average rate of 8.4 or 12.93 nationally. For veterans, it jumps significantly. For veterans, the rate is 35.3, which is dramatically higher than the general population.
I think the last stat I heard was that there's one veteran suicide every 22 minutes. Is that right?
I know more. 22 I read today, as a matter of fact, 22 a day.
A day, I'm sorry. Yes,
22 a
day. And I remember when we were doing the suicide prevention mobile app that we had a veteran, an older adult, and a teen. And as I was speaking to the veteran, I just assumed that the reasoning was because of combat fatigue or post-traumatic stress syndrome. But he said it had to do with relationship issues, which, after 14 consecutive years of conflict, takes a big toll on people's lives, financially and relationships.
Well, the county executive was very focused on making sure that that's that Speak app became a reality. And, he promoted it statewide, and a number of other counties wanted to adopt it, literally. And, it's very important to us that we do the outreach to our most vulnerable and let them know that there is help certainly available for anyone who may be contemplating suicide.
Amy, what are the most common risk factors? I know that's kind of a general question, and we don't want to ignore any potential signs of suicide, but what are the most common risk factors that the suicide prevention community recognizes out there?
Certainly, family history of suicide is a pretty common risk factor. A history of chronic or terminal illness, history of clinical depression can be a risk factor. And again, none of these alone are going to cause suicide. There are oftentimes different kind of factors that might take place in a person's life. Alcohol and substance use are a risk factor. If someone is thinking about suicide or feeling depressed and is using, their inhibitions get decreased, and they may be more inclined to act spontaneously or impulsively on a thought of suicide. Certainly feelings of hopelessness, isolation. Individuals who are isolated can be at higher risk. Loss, you'd mentioned loss in regards to a loss of relationship or difficulty with relationships in regards to veterans. So relationship problems can fall under loss, financial issues can fall under loss, certainly loss of job can have a dramatic impact on someone's sense of hope and perspective of what it is their future is going to look like.
And these signs don't manifest the same in each person, right? Each person will manifest one or more of these. We're all individual human beings, and so we're gonna all look different if we have any signs of risk. I think that what's really important is that if you're concerned about someone that you care about or someone that you know, is ask them. There's no harm in asking. Are you thinking about killing yourself? Do you ever think about suicide?
I think there is a myth out there that by asking or bringing it up, it's somehow going to cause it, and that's not the case.
That is indeed a myth. No, just the opposite. What we've really in the suicide prevention community knows is that talking about suicide is a key to prevention of suicide. That's actually part of our mission statement.
So before we go to the specifics about the Gun Shop and Sportsman's Club initiative, tell us a little bit about the Speak Coalition and Ulster County's prevention efforts, where it kind of like chronologically or historically.
Speak has been in existence now for, 12, 15 years. I've only been a part of it for the past 4 or 5 years. Speak, which is what we refer to ourselves, stands for Suicide Prevention, Education, Awareness, and Knowledge. It's a coalition of about 15 individuals from service providers in the community, law enforcement, the Sportsmen's Federation, community members, the Department of Health, the Department of Mental Health, who all work together to promote suicide prevention in whatever ways it is that we can. I said earlier, our mission is simply to bring people together to prevent suicide. And our message, our Speak message, and we recently revised this because it's so clear, is that anybody can be impacted by suicide. Openly and talking about suicide is a key to prevention of suicide, and that Speak provides education, offers support, and instills hope. I just thought that was a really important piece to get out to the community about what it is that Speak, what it means to us to be members of Speak.
Right. And I know we have trainers that go out to communities and train different organizations, right?
Yes, we have a number of Speak can offer a number of different trainings: mental health first aid, youth mental health first aid, assist, Safe Talk. These trainings are for anybody who is interested in learning more about how they may be able to help. You can be, the person in the grocery store. You can be a librarian. You can be a school teacher. You can be just someone who's interested in wanting to be able to make a difference in people's lives. They're great trainings, and we call these gatekeeper trainings because it's the gatekeepers who are more likely to come in contact with individuals at risk than certainly folks who are at professional, but we've been trained.
These folks are in the trenches, so to speak.
These folks are in the trenches, that's right. Some of the other activities you referred earlier to the Speak app. The Speak app is downloadable for your iPhone, your Android. It can help you identify if you know someone who's at risk for suicide. It provides information. It provides immediate response by linking people directly to a suicide prevention hotline. And it's helpful for everybody, but specifically in the app, you mentioned the veterans piece. We have a veterans segment. We have a youth segment, and we have a middle-aged male segment because we've identified these individuals as to be at a higher risk. But again, the app itself is available for anybody and everybody.
It's free. It's downloadable for free, and it's adapted to not only the iPhone but the Android.
And being used by several other communities. The County Executive Hein was very generous in allowing us to share it with communities
several
around the nation.
Other communities, and the last time we got statistics from who is downloading it, we identified, I think, 6 different countries, including Asia, one person in India, a number of countries in South America, which we were really pleased and impressed with.
Right, because potential suicide is part of the human condition, and so everyone is affected by it. And you also work with I should say we, because I'm on the Speak Coalition as well.
Yes.
That we work with local community coalitions such as the Maya Gold Foundation in New Paltz, which is a terrific
organization, and the Ulster Prevention Council, and what we do with these events, and the interagency task force to address the opiate epidemic, and we do a number of different kind of tabling events with these other coalitions where we take information, resource information, warning signs, what you can do in order to help someone, what risk factors, what are the myths, and just different community resources that are available for individuals in the community. And again, we're at the table so that we can get the word out.
Really terrific to be where people are, and really, and I have to say that in my limited experience on the Speak Coalition, I'm very impressed with the caliber and the commitment of the people that are there and the work that's being done. It's really terrific.
Thank you, Vin. It's a group of people who are really passionate about suicide prevention.
Right. Well, we're going to take a short break right now. You're listening to Healthy Ulster Radio. When we come back, we want to talk to Amy about the Gun Shop and Sportsman's Club project, which is a very, very interesting dimension of the suicide prevention effort in Ulster County.
In emergency care, it's all about experience. At Health Alliance Hospital Broadway campus, a member of the Westchester Medical Center Health Network, it's another way we're investing in you. We're board certified in emergency medicine, nationally recognized in stroke care, and use telemedicine to give patients access to the region's leading specialists. Patients tell us we make their experience exceptional by treating them with the utmost respect. Health Alliance Hospital Broadway campus. We're advancing care here. Visit hahv.org for more.
Welcome back. You are listening to Healthy Ulster Radio. Our special guest today is Amy McCracken, Deputy Commissioner of Mental Health for Ulster County. Amy, obviously there are several ways that people commit suicide. And can you tell us a little bit more about why the Gun Shop project? How did it come about?
I'd be happy to. One of the things that we've found out is that access to lethal means is one of those most significant factors for an individual to die by suicide, because firearms are just so lethal if you use them to kill yourself. Nationally, firearms account for 50% of all suicides, and really significantly, among veterans, firearms account for 66% of all suicides. So what inspired us was a few years ago, we, through a grant that we received from the New York State Council on Suicide Prevention, we brought Elaine Frank of Dartmouth College and the New Hampshire Firearm Safety Coalition to come and do a training with us on counseling on access to lethal means. At Elaine's suggestion, because she's so experienced in this work, we invited Joe Leuni from the Ulster Federated Sportsmen's Association. At that training, Joe became interested in partnering with Speak. He really recognized that our work was anti-suicide, not anti-gun, and he wanted to be a part of this project, and he wanted to assist us in bringing suicide prevention to the sportsmen's clubs with whom he works. it's become really clear that suicide is a good fit. Suicide prevention is a good fit for firearm vendors. Our message is really clear. We're anti-suicide, not anti-gun.
What was the reaction for the initial outreach, and did you anticipate that there might be some objections or concerns, and how to address them?
Well, we did. We spent a lot of time in our coalition shifting our own thinking to be prepared, because we did think that there would be concerns in the firearm community, that we were going in with a different message, that we were going in with an anti-gun message, and we were clear that we weren't, and we needed to find our words to be able to communicate that really clearly. And in the first gun show that we went to was at the Saugerties Kiwanis at the ice rink.
I was there.
You were there, and it was really packed. There were a lot of people, and a lot of people came to our table. A lot of people walked at a distance from our table, but checked us out. So that was our first one. And now I was at a recent gun show here at the Best Western, put on by one of the local sportsmen's clubs, and completely opposite. We're now into this a year and a half, and the vendors come up to the table. They're interested in what it is that we have to say. They take our information. This past show that I was at, there were a couple of vendors that were actually interested in what they can do to do some screenings for people who they're potentially selling firearms to, and we have a great kind of laminated printout that gives some just really specific pointed directions about what may make a person at risk and what kinds of questions to ask if they're concerned about someone. So it's been a relatively easy fit for us to go into these communities. We've also been invited to a couple of different specific gun clubs or sportsmen's clubs to talk about our project, and people are really interested in what we have to say.
Well, certainly gun safety should be first and foremost in everyone's mind, and certainly no gun owner would want to see their weapon used by a loved one to commit suicide or
absolutely
what have you. So
right.
I think part of this really is the emphasis on safety. And if there is someone in the home who may be suffering from depression or other
life
crises, what have you. What is the message to then that gun owner regarding safety and securing their gun, etc.?
This is a really hard one, because people are attached to their firearms, and so when someone's at risk, if you have a family member at risk, we would ask that you see if you can find a safe way to secure them where that individual, while they're in this particular crisis, doesn't have access to them. And I've talked to a number of different gun owners who have pacts with each other. If I've got like an issue going on with my spouse, if I'm depressed, if I'm feeling bad, I'm going to give you my guns to hold on to. We also have a number of police departments in Ulster County that are willing to receive and store guns, and there are some gun shops that are able to do that also, I believe. We recognize that not everybody's going to want to turn their guns over to law enforcement, and so having a trusted friend can be a really good plan in securing your guns or securing someone else's guns while they're in a time of crisis.
Now, wasn't the gun shop project in New Hampshire where all of this began? Wasn't there an individual, a gun shop retailer who was instrumental in that? Can you tell us about that?
I absolutely can tell you about that. That was Ralph D'Amico, and Riley's gun shop, I believe, was the name of his gun shop. And what he experienced in the course of 6 days were 3 suicides by guns that were sold from his shop. And it was life-shaking for him, and wanted to do something, wanted to make a difference. And so he and Elaine Frank developed the New Hampshire Gun Safety Coalition. I don't know how many years ago this is. It's maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. And they have really worked to promote this information and really promote, gun safety and suicide prevention are a really good fit.
And I remember even at that initial show that we did in Saugerties, and then also one that I participated in with the National Guard at some annual event that they had, I was astounded at the number of people that came up to our table and talked about how some kind of suicide type of event affected either someone in their immediate family or extended family or in their circle of friends.
We've had that experience at every show that we've been to, that people willingly and in fact want to talk about suicides that they've had that are close in their family. And it's both impressive and really points to how when people have the venue, we really need to have the discussion because again, talking about suicide is the key to preventing suicide.
And I know having Joe from the Sportsmen's Federation, and also I know Chief Joseph Sinagra,
that's right.
Police Chief in Saugerties has been instrumental in opening doors.
Yes, both Joes helped us with our preparedness. It's helped our coalition with our preparedness, and I think that preparedness absolutely led to our success. Joe Leone, from the president of the Sportsmen's Federation in Ulster County, always is letting us know when there are events going on that we're wanted at. Now we're asked for. Now the Suicide Prevention Coalition, the Speak Table, is asked to come and have a table at many of these events. We can't ask for more than that. And again, Chief of Police in Saugerties, Joe Sinagra, has been a long-term, what I call friend of mental health.
Yeah, he's on the Ulster Prevention Council, Substance Abuse Prevention Council.
And he too has given us many segues into the firearm community that has been very helpful. He sits at tables with us.
And the two Joes are recognized by the Mental Health Association in Ulster County, right?
Just
for their
this
efforts.
past May, the Mike Adesso Award they received because of their work in suicide prevention with the Speak Coalition.
Right.
That's correct.
And has this work here in Ulster County influenced other communities in the region area to pick up on some of these things?
It has. We have been, the New York State Suicide Prevention Council has recognized us in New York State, Speak, in particular, this coalition, as really forerunners in this work in New York State. And they have connected us with other counties. There were 2 counties that we had a pretty substantial conversation with. I can't remember which 2 counties out in western New York that wanted to begin a gun shop or sportsman's club project like what we have. We also did a presentation at the kind of budding Suicide Prevention Coalition in Sullivan County. And again, same thing, they were interested. Putnam County has been very much interested in this project, and they're I would say they're right up there with us in their work in promoting suicide prevention with gun shops and sportsmen's clubs.
It's really great how counties really collaborate with each other to share these best practices.
Absolutely.
It's really terrific. Getting good work out there to protect as many lives and prevent tragedy. It's really wonderful. Now, Amy, we would be remiss if we didn't ask you to talk about where people can go for more information and perhaps more help if they need it, or help for themselves or other loved ones. Can you share some of that with us?
Absolutely. More information, if you're interested in the information that I'm talking about and Ulster County's Speak Coalition, you can go to ulstercountyspeak.org, and you'll find a lot of information about what I'm talking about here. You'll see a number of our handouts. All of our information is not copyrighted on purpose. We want it out there and publicized. We want people to have this information and talk about this information. Also, what's really important, whenever we talk about suicide, it can bring up some feelings that people want to talk more about it. And so Family of Woodstock is Ulster County's 24-hour hotline, and anybody can call them at any time of the day or night. That's at 845-338-2370. Family of Woodstock also has a 24-hour text line, which is very exciting because young people in particular prefer to text, and that number is 845-679-2485. And Ulster County's mobile mental health team, which is from 10 to 10, 7 days a week, is 1-844-277-4820.
Terrific. Well, this is really great work.
And we have this information as well on our website.
Yes, we do.
So you can visit our Ulster County website and
ulstercountyny.gov/health, and you'll see there's a suicide prevention section right there.
Yep.
And this is really great work. Again, all of the people who are involved in this coalition and others who are doing tremendous work across Ulster County to save lives and prevent tragedy, all very, very great. And Amy, we wish you all of the very best in your future, and we hope that you have a wonderful, terrific, dynamic, relaxing retirement.
Great.
We're all very envious.
Thank you so much. And I'll say that of the work that I do, this is one of the projects that's hardest to say goodbye to.
Yes, and it's very obvious. You've done tremendous work. Well, that's about all the time we have today, Dr. Smith. Please tune in next week for more great information that you can use to keep yourself, your family, and your community healthy and strong with Healthy Ulster Radio. See you next week.
You've been listening to the Healthy Ulster Radio Show, a community affairs presentation from the Ulster County Health Department, sponsored by Health Alliance of the Hudson Valley in Kingston, a member of the WMC Health Network. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us for another edition of the Healthy Ulster Radio Show next week.